Yeah, and it's very surprising because in the OCG list, Thunder Dragon Colossus is actually limited, so it's at 1. And many people thought, okay, then Thunder is not playable at all. Joshua is proving everyone wrong. You do have the option to shuffle it back with Thunder Dragon Fusion and get multiple copies.
And then you get to play Thunder Dragon Titan, which is a card that sort of fell off the radar in the TCG for quite a while.
It was quite amazing during like the December period and so on. Like in London, it was the very first event where it was legal for us, and it is still a very, very good deck. So.
Do you say it's favored against the Salamangreat deck because the big Thunder Dragon monsters are so hard to remove once they get established?
I think it's definitely a peculiar matchup, but just because it depends on how many you can put up, because Mirage Stalio is a very good way to get rid of at least one. And you do have some options, as one card that really won Koki last round is in his hand right now. It's Mind Control.
Yeah, Mind Control. It seems like quite a few of the OCG players have shown up prepared with Mind Control.
Yeah, and he's decided to main them. They are amazing in the mirror match, of course, but one way to get rid of those pesky Thunder Dragon monsters is Mind Control.
Yeah, just borrow it temporarily and then link it away.
So,
interesting card in Joshua Smith's hand, Aloof Lupine. That's not one we've traditionally saw a lot of on a European circuit. Can you give us some thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So basically it's a level 4. When it's normal summon, you can banish a monster from your hand, and then you get to have one from your deck with the same type and attribute, I believe. So the key card is basically that Batteryman Solar works with another card, but now that you have less resources, Joshua just thought Aloof Lupine is better. Why? Sarcophagus is at 1, so you have less starters. If you open with Aloof Lupine and Dark or Roar, you can do an amazing ending field, and that's why he decided to main triple Roar and triple Dark, which is also something that you don't really see in the Thunder Dragons decks.
Yeah, whenever I see Joshua's decks, you can always sort of see him really questioning what's considered the gold standard on ratios for cards. At the WCQ, I think he was the first duelist that I saw playing triple Rage, I think, in his deck. Mained.
Yeah. You're completely right, and I think it is definitely an interesting deck. It seems like it's very consistent. He has a triple Pot of Desire, triple Allure, the Aloof Lupine, so you're really getting into your Thunder, Dragon, Colossus and Titan, and the rest of his deck is Entrops. As you can see, you open 2 here. The Ash Blossom is actually a Ghost Ogre, as we could see. He really wished that that was an Ash Blossom in this case, but the Ghost Ogre not so useful in this particular matchup.
So yeah, let's see. We're going to see a full combo coming out of Koki.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how Joshua decides to play into this field. Although he does have Pot of Desires, which is going to be really strong. Throw down in the gate on the Pot of Desires.
I see a lot of players like debating on this. Usually I do like to negate it, but there are a lot of factors to be considered. Like, it depends what else do you have. Is it your only negation? What type of deck your opponent is playing? But usually I do like it because they get 2 cards, and the chance that at least one of them is gonna force out the negation is relevant. So
is it? Does your decision change if your opponent used a hand trap before, so their hand size is smaller?
Definitely does, and in this case Joshua did use one. He might use even a second one. So
yeah, when he puts down the Pot of Desires, it's a very slim hand there, so it's probably worth throwing out the negate.
I agree, and here these draws are gonna be really important from Joshua.
Now you can see him loading the Ghost Ogre.
He's gonna force the Bailings from the graveyard here, and one of the things that we comment on is the lack of Cold by the Grave in basically everyone's deck this weekend, which is slightly surprising, to be honest.
Super interesting, considering how impactful that card has been in pretty much every territory at the moment. And then this weekend people were like, maybe not so much.
Absolutely, and now Koki is not stopping anytime soon. He still has quite a few options. He went for a pretty cool play, which was bouncing back his own Gazelle with Stalio. So Stalio doesn't only bounce your opponent monsters, so you can do that, and it is especially important here because Gazelle is at 1, so...
Yeah, you need to be getting the most uses from it. But I've seen some interesting tech options to keep giving you the Gazelle. Some people have gone quite far out there in this, and Salamangreat deck is the most popular one for this weekend.
It is, yeah. Blowing 13 out of 28, so...
Yeah, that's just crazy. Almost 50% of the field, so we're almost certainly going to be seeing a lot of this tomorrow
as well.
well.
So now the original Thunder Dragon come down, and still relying on this pot of desires to get things going. Very surprisingly, Koki did not see one of his traps. He plays a lot of them. We saw in the round 2 how basically he's the only one in this field playing triple copy of Salamangreat Roar, which is usually just a one-off, but...
And there's a Lupine.
Yes, so the Lupine, amazing here. It could force the Roar and or the Rage from Koki. So he was forced to search for them, and let's see if he wants to use them here. So
good doggo.
Definitely, good boy.
And Joshua's still got the backup pot of desires, but there's always that interesting thing, 'cause you know almost the entire contents of your opponent's hand. So if you hold the negation back, you're like, right, he's got one card, I've got one negate. But then I guess you've definitely got to consider how you're playing around the Lupine.
And there is the Roar, so it does have quite some consideration. The thing is, it is a very good engine card. It also floats into a Link Masters, and if you're playing against Salamangreat, it means that you can go for the Nightmare Phoenix afterwards, which is great because they give you an arrow, and that way you can just take the +1 for the co-linked.
Ah, yeah, you get the co-link, take out their spell and trap, and then draw a card.
Which is great. Now he gets to search the Dragon Duo, so...
For a second there, I thought you said Dragon Duel, and I was like, wait, we've already done that
yeah,
part.
they look slightly older, I'd say.
A little bit older.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Say, sir, I'm pretty sure you have ID. You can't play in this tournament. And there's the Pot of Desires.
Yeah, no Ash in Koki. And thinking on what it might be looking for here, there aren't too many options, to be fair. Thunder Dragon Fusion could be one of them, but I would say the Ock is by far the best draw you can get here. But unfortunately, and again, kind of surprisingly, he's only playing one Ock.
Right, so the odds that he might banish it is pretty high here.
Definitely. Actually. And that would be quite unfortunate, so...
So, other than Hawk, what else is he currently looking for?
To be honest, not much, because as I was saying, probably either like a Gold Sarcophagus, which though as well is a one-off, or the Thunder Dragon Fusion maybe could allow him to do some.
I did just see he banished 2 of those Thunder Dragon Fusions.
Oh, and that's the only copies he's playing in his deck, so that's not what he wanted. He's gonna go for the duo, but I'm pretty sure that will be met by the Salamangreat Rage once he tries to attack over a monster.
Battle phase?
Yeah.
Quick check and...
Yeah, they're just debating because it was kind of positioned weirdly, but it wasn't banished, so... The attack is happening, and here you can see why Joshua used the Ogre that way. It seems like it was a very weird Ogre last turn, but it was due to the fact that he already knew that he was going to go into this scenario, and he wanted to get rid of the Bailings.
Yeah, so he was ready to set himself up for a good attacking turn.
Yeah, here... Okay, so here we also see a very interesting play by Koki. He had the reincarnated, let's say, Sunlight Wolf. That meant that he could have used the Rage to just destroy the duo. Instead, he decides to use the Tribute 1 effect just so that he can trigger the Gazelle and get even more plus is going on.
Yeah, just to set himself further ahead, because Joshua seems to be limping right now. He's given up his normal summon. He's holding 2 Thunder Dragons.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot else he can do there.
I'm pretty sure he's just gonna pass as soon as the Koki is done, because he doesn't have anything else going on. And here, as I was saying, an unconventional play by Koki, but you can really see why the our Japanese colleagues picked him as their choice. He seems like he knows very well what he's doing here.
Yeah, he's reading the situation very, very well.
Okay, so yeah, as expected, Joshua just passes here. The only line of interruption remaining being the impermanence in his hand.
Joshua's probably going to lose this turn, right?
I would say so, because he just got back the roar face down, which means that even the impermanence doesn't do anything. And
yeah, it just goes ahead and negates him. Yeah.
Yeah, so very convincing plays here by Koki. I'm pretty sure he will find enough damage to seal this game. He's playing also like Will of the Salamangreat, which is another way to just extend your play. So he's really knows what he's doing, and he will probably just end this duel very soon.
Yeah, one quick flurry of attacks, and Joshua's probably just taking this time right now to consider, to see, just feel out his opponent and feel like how his opponent plays.
Absolutely. Honestly, the way you play, even these kind of situations where you're basically just a few moves away from winning, can tell you a lot by how your opponent is.
Yeah.
And
you can also pick up on their tells as well, like when they're doing this, like if they're getting overly excited, if they start playing the cards. And there's always the opportunity, right, that they just play their cards wrong. I mean, it's not going to happen.
No, of course.
Here,
I mean, here it probably doesn't matter, but you get free infos as well, because you might want to know, do they play the Fusion engine? Do they play like the unconventional, like, I don't know, Salamangreat Foul?
Yeah.
And maybe they will show those to you. So
yeah. What do they reveal to you in this? And you've got the time on the clock as well to play around with, so there's no rush to concede.
Yeah, absolutely not. And
also, by not conceding, he's probably sort of playing a mind game with his opponent. It's like, yeah, I've got an interrupt right here.
Yeah,
I know exactly what I'm doing.
To be fair, outside of the Thunder Dragons, he had 3 cards that were there, but now Joshua has seen enough. He calls the judge to picks up his cards, and that's game 1.
Yeah,
so
he's no longer going to get any more information out of this. He's like, yeah, my opponent is just going to set it up, and I'm going to lose. I've got everything I want from this.
Yeah, so now we are going into the side decks, and to be fair, if Koki position was good because of the main deck mind control, it improves even more.
No, especially in game 2 and 3.
Yeah, because now he knows what he's up against. He has the super polymerizations that are amazing, not only in the mirror match, but here and against any combo deck. I think Joshua's decision for this deck was also relying on his opponent not expecting this traditional old style, let's say, Thunder Dragon deck, but unfortunately super polymerization is even better against this version.
Yeah, you just sweep away their dragons, and it gets around their anti-destruction effects.
And also, something I just noticed that's very heads up by Koki is siding 3 copies of Ghost Bell.
Ah, yes, it stops you banishing cards.
Yes, usually you see DD Crow as having like more entraps in the mirror match, but Ghost Bell can still stop those plays, like he can stop the Jaguar, the Spinny, a lot of things, but it's such a good card against Thunder, because for people forgetting about the card, it negates the activation. It is the only entraps of the sisters, we can call them, that negates the activations, and that means that you can use it on the Dragon Hawk, and it would not count for your Colossus, which is great. So
yeah, it just shuts them down, and then the Colossus, not the Colossus, sorry, the Titan, right?
No, because the Colossus requires one activated Thunder.
Right, oh yeah, so if you want to summon it, so yeah, you get them.
You cannot summon it with that, so you need one more Thunder Dragon, which is not that obvious in the usual build. So yeah, it's gonna be a close one for Joshua. I would predict to go first and set up his plays. He is siding into traps, which is interesting. So
I wonder if that means Joshua. Well, yeah, if Joshua's going first, he'd probably side into traps. That makes sense.
I think it is smart because, as we did see a peek from how Koki sided, the instinct for everyone is, okay, I'm gonna side out my Twister, my Cosmic if I'm playing against Thunder. and then you caught them off guard by siding Summon Limit or Macrocosmos as well.
Yeah, yeah. Although really interestingly, I was taking a look at Koki's list there. He's got Dimensional Barrier in his deck as well.
Yes.
So even if he loses this one, you might catch a Feather Dragon player by going, yeah, Fusion. There you go.
That's actually insane. Like I feel like any of these Pure Thunder players would be so hilarious to see just their reaction to Dimensional Barrier being flipped.
Like, why is this card still haunting me all these years later?
That's crazy. Because honestly, like Joshua's deck doesn't really rely on Link summoning, and I think that's why, like a Factory is playing around Phantasmi as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? Koki is not playing Phantasmi in the main or side deck, so it seems like Koki just built his deck around the Joshua's.
I think he's been spying on Joshua. He's like hacked his phone or something, and he's
Probably,
gone, what's
yeah.
he playing? Right, and I'm just going to show up with the perfect counter.
Absolutely, yeah.
But Joshua's got the experience, and he keeps a level head. I very rarely see Joshua. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen Joshua get tilted.
It's very rare, and if it is an event, to be honest, it is probably this one, because I know that it is basically the event he cares the most about, of course.
Oh yeah, he was one of the front runners for the points playoff this year, and he has been for the last 3 years.
Absolutely. So he that close and then miss again, like he did in 2012. So I did see the summon limit in Joshua end, so I think that can be a huge factor, because I want to bet like everything I have, like Koki sided out, like Twister and so on. So the ways he can navigate through it are probably a Pancratops if he gets it, or the Foxy, which is actually very relevant. If he gets a Foxy in Grave, he can get rid of it. So this is gonna be an interesting one.
Okay, and Joshua starts with a Thunder Dragon.
Pretty good hand, to be honest. Like Summon Limit alone is very strong, and when you top it with the Matrix, the Desires, we will probably see a Nash Plus summon the Desires, but it's not gonna be the end of the world, I think.
Yeah, Joshua's still got some plays to make, and also having that Thunder Dragon fusion is going to give him a chance to get back in a little bit later if he decides to hold it back.
So now we see Joshua using Thunder Dragon twice, and that's because he does have the Thunder Dragon fusion in hand. So that way he can go for the Colossus no matter what happens here. So
yeah, we're almost certainly going to see a Snap Ash.
Yeah, for sure the Ash is going to come down here.
Lets it go.
That would be...
Oh no, he's letting him pay the cost, and...
Yeah. It just pays the cost, and then I'm pretty sure it would just drop it here.
Ah yeah, sorry, it looked like he just waved his hand. It's like, yeah, go ahead, draw some cards. I'm like, really? Okay.
That would have been wild, and it doesn't look like he banished too much. And now his options are limited, so I think he will most likely just end on the Colossus plus Summon Limit, and honestly that's very good.
Yeah, it's very hard to get rid of the Colossus, and the Summon Limit makes that even trickier, especially when you can't search your deck for any answer. So he's also blanking out the Salamangreat Circle with this.
Which is very relevant, because Gazelle is at 1. That means that you are gonna search it a lot more than drawing it, and that's a huge thing. But Buffalo is there, and it is one way to actually go and try to
hard draw it.
So Desires as well. So this game is it seems like it's gonna be quite an interesting one. It all depends on the summon limit right now, I have to be honest. And I am pretty sure, as I was saying, that he doesn't have the outs, so it's either gonna be a Foxy or a Pancratops. And maybe you don't even keep Pancratops, because it doesn't clear the fusions.
Yeah, it's actually smaller than them, and it's just a case of like, okay, I've got it, and I'm just using it as a link material.
Yeah,
really.
so maybe there are actually a very good chance that he did not side the Pancratops. I think he drew the third Buffalo as well.
I saw an Infinite Impermanence
which is good,
up there.
which is good, to be honest. Both super polymerizations are banished, which is not a good feeling. And now though he has a pretty good, and like he doesn't know about the summon limit. That's the issue, because right now what we will see is probably an impermanence on the Colossus, and then Buffalo plus Circle to keep things going.
Yeah, here we go, as you say, and then the summon limit will come up pretty quickly.
Which is gonna shut down his turn, but If he gets his hands on a Foxy, the problem right now for Joshua is that he wouldn't be able to clear his own summon limit very easily, so this one I think is gonna be a close one. It's really gonna come down to what Koki is gonna get with this Buffalo. So also, I think, okay, he does have the Sanctuary left, which is also a big deal. He might have banished it with Desires, but he does have it back.
And then he goes ahead and changes up for the Salamangreat circle.
Let's see if he banished Gazelle. He didn't, so this Desires was amazing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it goes completely right. It's actually a fact last year in the finals when the Pot of Desires banishes your 2 copies of Inspector Border while you control Inspector Border. It's like, that -9 really paid off right there.
Wow, yeah, I felt so bad for Bowden there. And
yeah, honestly, watching his play last year, he was really on point. He was a step ahead of a lot of the all of the players there.
And you gotta give him credit because he barely missed out this year, getting first place at Oceanics. So
yeah,
he was very close to being here once more. Ooh, and those draws are amazing. So Sign-In, Mining, and Foxy. Wow, this is actually looking like it could be Koki's game still, even though this turn is not gonna happen. So
yeah, that's super interesting because then Joshua Smith, he still has a couple of cards in hand.
But it's gonna be tough. So basically what is gonna happen here is we're probably gonna see a Gazelle.
Yeah.
And the summon limit from Joshua. And at that point, it gets very weird. Because you know that the Fox is there, which means that the summon limit is gonna be out the next turn. And there is not much you can do about it. So let's see how this will continue. Yeah, as predicted, the summon limit is flipped. There is not much that Koki can do at this point. He's gonna pass, relying on his Effect Veiler to essentially keep him alive. Because the cool interaction that we have is that Thunder Dragon Titan can destroy your own cards. So what I'm thinking is if Joshua picks up a good extender, he can try and destroy his own summon limit and just push for game.
Yeah, and then try and overwhelm.
Because I don't think he can just stay and watch, because he knows that the Foxy is just gonna tear him apart otherwise.
Yeah, Koki can then just essentially carry on business as usual.
Yeah.
In this next turn, so let's see how Joshua...
Yeah, and to be fair, he has the Fusion Engrave, which means that he can search like a Knock or any power cards.
Yeah, it took Thunder Dragons a real long time to win their first YCS, and it was mostly after it morphed into like a combo deck.
Yeah.
It's actually super interesting exploring that. Last year I felt like the OCG was kind of at the disadvantage at the World Championships because Christian Needle Fiber, which is a huge part of their format, wasn't legal, and a lot of the cards from Link's Vrains pack was still not available, so they weren't played. So the OCG format was a little bit too different from the Worlds. This year I kind of feel like it's the TCG players that are missing all the danger cards that have been such a big impact.
That's true.
And so like the whole format feels shifted more away from what the TCG is comfortable with.
One main thing is also for the OCG, I would say Max G. I think that's probably single-handedly the biggest difference that we have. It is a 3 in the OCG, and that card is just so ridiculous for us to think back at it. So
yeah, it's actually super interesting. The different philosophies there. But
yeah, I think that's what you would probably mostly playtest with if you are Japanese or some Asian player, OCG player, let's say, because I think combo decks must feel appealing, but then they prove us wrong because they're not really playing combo decks. But it's definitely one of the most impactful entraps ever printed, and
I think it's one of the most impactful cards ever printed at this point.
Definitely. But now Joshua is gonna try his best to just push the damage here. My main concern, unfortunately, is that if he tries to go for the Titan play and destroy his own summon limit, the Effect Veiler from Koki can really shut him down. So let's see what he wants to do.
And here's a Thunder Dragon Titan.
It's also possible that Joshua just says, I'm gonna get a Dark with this Roar. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. And then I just attack, pass, get back the Dark, and that way he has 2 interruptions with the Titan. And he just prays that that's enough. I do not like it too much, but maybe that's what he is going for. Because the rest of his hand doesn't allow him to push damage, really.
Yeah, so he's going to have to play his cards very conservatively to see if he can make it through.
He's going for an attack, so I'm pretty sure this is what he's going for. Yeah. So basically Joshua just gonna end on a Titan. He gets back the Dark. That means that he has 2 ways of destroying a monster, which is important because Bale Links otherwise would have completely nullified the Titan.
Yeah.
Now he can destroy a card, but is that enough? I am very skeptic it is.
Yeah, because the summon limit's going to get removed this turn.
Yeah, the first thing you do is destroy it by discarding the Spinny, then you Gazelle, and I would think Joshua... First of all, let's take a look at this draw. I don't think it matters too much. Yeah, it is a roar, so it is not gonna matter much. So what I was thinking is now, the Foxy is the first thing that comes down for sure. It cannot be prevented because, let's remember, it all basically activates but kind of resolves from the graveyard, so you cannot affect Valor it, for example.
Yeah, it's not on the field to catch it.
And then what is gonna happen most likely is that Joshua is gonna wait for the Stalio to Titan twice, and from that point on he's just hoping that that's enough.
Yeah, and that he gets another turn.
Yeah.
Joshua's got a lot of cards in hand, so if when the turn gets back to him, he can definitely make some plays here.
Yeah. But here, Koki can send the Will, which means that, yeah, I think he's going for it, which means that he makes the Stalio, he gets the double pop, and then he is left with Spinny plus Buffalo, which is still enough to either make a second Stalio or to make the Sunlight Wolf.
Yeah, he could go up to Sunlight Wolf. He's hard drawn the... No, he didn't. He's actually got the Sanctuary in his hand at the moment as well.
Yeah, I think, as we were saying, here Joshua is just gonna pray, so he's gonna double pop it, and that means that Koki is left with the Buffalo. Pretty sure this is what's gonna happen. Let's just wait and see if it is the case. So the first one resolves, and Bale Links is most likely gonna protect it. Yeah. And then the Matrix is gonna come down. Yeah.
Yep, and that'll be Titan again.
Kinda predictable, so now the Stalio is gone, and here, to be honest, it was very optimistic from Joshua, because you do know the Sanctuary, but there are 3 more cards, and any fire monster, like any level 3 is even better, but any fire monster gets you there, because now he can get to normal summon the Buffalo, and he has two lines of play. So he can go into Stalio, get the Jaguar, and keep pushing from there. He bounces back the Titan and so on. But he also has another play which might be better, which is normal summon the Buffalo, make Wolf, Sanctuary, make another Wolf, you get back the Will, you use the other effect to summon up to the link ratings, and you get 2 level 3s that way too. So he has a lot available.
Yeah, not a good position for Joshua to be in when your opponent can get through your Titan and still have a world of options available to them to press you over.
Absolutely.
And then Kozaki will have the Roar and Effect Veiler's interruptions during Joshua's turn as well, so Joshua's got to play back through that, assuming he gets another turn.
Yeah, you can see he doesn't look that happy. He's quite frustrated. He's just hoping at this point that there is nothing else in Koki, and
yeah, he's pulling those shoulders up quite close to his ears as he's leaning forward there.
You
so
can
that's
see
quite tense.
Heavy breathing and just hoping. And now I think, yeah, this is the moment where he realizes this is gonna be a very difficult game still. And okay, he goes for the Wolf, so I'm pretty positive that we will go for the Will line that I was talking about. So
yeah.
It's very powerful here, so...
And yep.
Yeah, that seems like what he's going for.
And Joshua has no more ways of interacting.
Absolutely, he's free to do whatever he wants. He will back 2 level 3s most likely, so... Is he playing a border load? Let me check. Yes.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so that's also an option if he feels like it, because he did not use the Stalio this turn yet, since it was destroyed by Titan. And yeah, and he gets the Ash Blossom back. This is brutal, yeah.
So that's 3 interrupts to Joshua's hand.
This is crazy, yeah. And now he gets to Stalio. This is incredible, really. Very well played by Koki, to be honest.
Yeah, Koki might be taking this down as a 2-0.
Yeah, it seems like even more our Japanese friends were right in suggesting him as the pick for the OCG.
Yeah, we're definitely keeping an eye on him for the rest of the weekend.
Absolutely, especially because if he's gonna take this game and match as it looks, he will be moving on with a 3-0 record, which could guarantee top cut even if you lose the other 2 matches. But like any draw is just guaranteed top cut, which is very good spot, really.
Yeah, and that'd be great for Japan. I don't believe they had any competitors remaining in top 4 last year. I think they had. I think they had
surprisingly
3 of their players made it to the top 8 last year. I think I might be wrong there. And then they all got eliminated in the top 8 playoffs.
Yeah, along with Galileo, but yeah.
Yeah, although Galileo lost to Bodan, so
yeah.
I got to see that game, and I could see how well Bodan was playing the weekend in that match. Or you just any time I walked past him, he just looked like he knew exactly what he was doing, and he was taking no prisoners.
So
yeah, how does Joshua mount a comeback?
Yeah, this is tough. There is the Roar drone, which is also another layer of interruption. Effect Vader, Ash Blossom. This seems like it's way too much for Joshua. He will try his best, of course. You should never give up. But this is looking like he's gonna be Koki's game. So I'm gonna ask for a translation.
Yeah, saying a quick translation. He's probably. Would you snap negate that if? I wonder what he's checking the text for.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably checking it because it is not that popular in the Guard Dragon Thunder deck. You usually play Sekka's Light, so...
Sure. Yeah, of course, so you can just not play spell cards.
Yeah, so... And it's quite a long text, to be honest, so you want to make sure you read it well, so...
Yeah, the card text is getting smaller and smaller. That's something we need to work on a little bit.
I think you can negate it. At the same time, it's not mandatory to... It's probably a close decision, because I don't think you're afraid at all at this point. If you're Koki, you're just thinking, how do I lose this game? And if you can find the answer, then you know what you are gonna negate with Roar.
Yeah, actually, if that Titan goes through, doesn't that put Joshua in a really good spot, because the Titan is very difficult to remove? And then it also, with the Thunder Dragons in his hand, he'd be able to start going after the back row.
Could have been actually reasonable, but it does negate it, and Joshua only decent card right now is the Hawk, and it seems like it is too much here. Let's see. Especially because, as we said multiple times, the Colossus is limited, so...
And it comes back.
Okay, so he is using the Hawk, and that is actually, I mean, it shouldn't matter, but Koki could have thought about it, because now his face down circle cannot be used.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can still use the effect, it stops your monsters being destroyed by card effects?
Sure,
but
exactly.
Probably not using that right now.
But it seems like Joshua is gonna go into Titan, so it would not matter. And makes sense, he's just trying to push. He knows that the Colossus isn't enough, just because of the Silent Wolves being there. But now the Ash Blossom is most likely gonna negate the Dark.
Yeah, and then Titan cannot be used at all then.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, I don't think it would have mattered, but do you think it was just better to keep the Colossus knowing that you negated the circle? And just hope that they couldn't get it back, but at the same time the wheel is in the graveyard still, so...
Yeah, it's difficult to say. You got just two Thunder Dragons in your hand, and Koki knows this. So Joshua's kind of in a position where he can't really bluff anything either way. And then if his opponent doesn't have the Ash Blossom, he then does get some form of interaction. Difficult to say.
Yeah, it's close, but probably due to the fact that the will is still in the graveyard, this was not an option, because he knew that Koki can just get the will back, go for another Stalio most likely, so it's very tough.
And clean him out, yeah.
Yeah. So you can see just from Joshua facial expression, as you can see, as you said actually, he doesn't tilt much, but he is still a human, so you can perceive his emotions.
Yeah, he gets tense, you can see it in his shoulders.
Yeah. So now the circle is gonna be used in the end phase, which means Koki can get any of the Salamangreat he's missing.
Yeah, he can literally do whatever he wants at this point. And he has perfect information of the game state, so Joshua can't even hide anything from him.
I would be very surprised if he didn't find a way to just go for a game during this next turn, which means that Japan defeated the best German player, arguably. So let's see.
No, I think you're actually right. I'm trying to think of another German player. The other one I can think of at the moment that I like is Huygen, but he's playing Duel Links.
Yeah, no, there is, I mean, I just didn't want to be too mean to, like, Jonas Koschel. I think he's the other, he's a really good player that is also here. He didn't quite have his breakout performance yet. He goes very close. He got twice to the finals, which is impressive, but he's definitely trying his best today, and the last I heard he was also 2-0, so...
Okay.
He's doing well with the same exact deck of Joshua, by the way.
Ah, did they sort of get together and brew the same?
So German alliance, we can say, home country alliance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always interesting. For when you came to the World Championships, did you sit down with like a team and figure it all out?
I did with Joshua as well. Like it was, so it's, yeah, it was me and Joshua preparing for the World Championship back in the day, and it was very weird because we had completely different results. Like after the first 3 rounds I was undefeated and he didn't win a match, so it was very different, but I guess variance.
You guys were playing True Draco, weren't you, the year that everyone was playing True Kings?
Yeah.
Which was super interesting because everybody on the TCG side, I was talking about this with Jerome earlier, sort of showed up with True Draco, and then everybody switched when they sort of got a chance. They got in the room and they started having a chat with a few people thinking, we're on the wrong deck. But you and Joshua were 2 of the players that said, no, we're on the right deck.
Absolutely. We are quite confident, to be honest, the both of us. And honestly, I think it was the right choice. I barely was making it to the finals, I'd say, so I would have had a good chance to take the event. And
I think you're a favorite if you'd have made it to that final round,
probably,
actually.
I guess.
But
so
there's always another time, right?
I guess.
And you're right here, and for the very least, you're going to be
Yes. We were talking with Billy how fun it was that we were both at the World Championship 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, he was there as well on that year.
Yeah, it was actually the last time we saw each other, which is very funny. And then we saw each other again here, but as commentators, which is...
It's a small world, honestly, once you get to the top level play. That season was ridiculous for you. I believe you had like an 80% win ratio.
Yeah, it was like 85. It was something absurd. But
something that just like has not even happened this year, I don't think, or the last 2 years.
But now, yeah, as predicted, we see a very similar line of play as the last turn rather, with the will bringing back even more Salamangreats, and I'm pretty sure at some point Joshua is just gonna pick up his cards here. Yeah. We will see the bottle load, I think.
Yeah, and then it will take the Titan.
And that's enough damage to win the game, because it's 4,800. Yes.
Yeah.
He attacks, takes the Titan, attacks with both, and an handshake comes down.
So that's the game. Kosaka is going to be going